everyone, how are you all? I hope you are doing great. This is CA Samiksha Sethia. I welcome you to my channel and the 7th session of our Let's Update Audit series. Already we have covered chapter number 1 to 6 of your ICAI new study material, the new concepts, new examples, questions and correct incorrect questions from the study material for May 21 examination and onwards. If you have not watched the previous sessions, I'll give the link of the playlist in the description box. आप सारे updates वहाँ से ले सकते हैं. And if you want these notes, there's also another link in the description box to download the notes. So do go and download the notes and watch the previous sessions if not already watched. And if you are new to the channel, do not forget to subscribe and hit the bell icon so that whenever new updates, new videos are posted, you stay updated with that. Okay, so in this particular video, I am going to discuss chapter number 7, that is audit sampling. Okay, so let's start with our discussion. Here, 2 new topics have been added by the institute. We can say that if you have already studied SA 530 separately, तो आपने ये टॉपिक्स ऑलरेडी पढ़ लिए होंगे, 2 डेफिनेशंस है वैसे. बट इफ यू आर नॉट रेफर्ड टू एनी ऑफ द स्टैंडर्ड सेपरेटली, देन दिस इज अ न्यू टॉपिक फॉर यू. एनीवे, आई एम गोइंग टू डिस्कस इट. वेदर यू हैव स्टडीड और नॉट, यू कैन रिवाइज इफ यू हैव स्टडीड ऑलरेडी. अगर आपने नहीं पढ़ा तो आप समझ सकते हो. ठीक है, तो 2 टॉपिक्स जो हैं वो टॉलरेबल मिस स्टेटमेंट एंड टॉलरेबल रेट ऑफ डेविएशन. ओके, व्हाट इज टॉलरेबल मिस स्टेटमेंट? It is a maximum amount, maximum monetary limit which is set by the auditor, and the auditor obtains a reasonable assurance about it whether the actual misstatement exceed this tolerable rate of misstatement or not. So tolerable rate of misstatement is actually set for account balances and transactions. मतलब जो भी हमारे स्टेटमेंट ऑफ पीएल एंड बैलेंस शीट के आइटम्स हैं उसके लिए सेट की जाती है एक टॉलरेबल लेवल. ओके, इतना मिस स्टेटमेंट हुआ तो वी कैन टॉलरेट, अबव दैट इज नॉट टॉलरेबल. ओके, इसको कहते हैं हम टॉलरेबल रेट ऑफ मिस स्टेटमेंट. नेक्स्ट कॉन्सेप्ट इज टॉलरेबल रेट ऑफ डेविएशन. गाइज, मिस स्टेटमेंट इज रिलेटेड टू अकाउंट बैलेंसेस एंड ट्रांजैक्शंस, also disclosures, but basically we can say it is related to financial statements. Okay, and deviation is related to internal control. If the internal control is not operating in the manner in which it should have operated, उसको हम कहते हैं the internal control, there is a deviation in the control. So what is a tolerable rate of deviation? It is a rate of deviation from the prescribed internal control procedures, from the prescribed internal control procedures, which is again set by the auditor, in respect of which the auditor seeks to obtain an appropriate level of assurance that the rate of deviation set by the auditor is not exceeded by the actual rate of deviation. So basically here what do we compare? We compare the tolerable rates versus the actual rates. Okay, tolerable rates versus the actual rates. Tolerable rate of misstatement versus the tolerable rate of deviation, actual rate of misstatement. Okay, चलो इसके बाद में हम करेक्ट इनकरेक्ट क्वेश्चंस देखते हैं. Number 1, when statistical sampling is used to select a sample, sample need not be representative. Sample need not be representative because the statistical sampling takes care of the representation. It's incorrect, definitely. Whether you are choosing statistical sampling or non-statistical sampling, the sample must be representative of the entire population. That means it should be closely similar to the whole population, although not necessarily exactly the same, but closely similar होना चाहिए. The sample should represent the whole population, irrespective of whatever approach or technique you are using. Okay. Next question, stratified sampling is used for homogeneous population. Homogeneous means similar. But actually stratified sampling is used for heterogeneous population or diversified population, wherein similar units are classified into a strata, and out of that each strata a sample size is chosen. Clear? So stratified sampling is used when the population is heterogeneous. The population is divided into subpopulations which is having similar characteristics. Samples are then chosen from these subpopulations which are called as stratum. Therefore, stratified sampling is not useful in case of homogeneous population. Okay. अगला क्वेश्चन देखिए, नॉन स्टैटिस्टिकल सैम्पलिंग इज कंसिडर्ड टू बी मोर साइंटिफिक दैन द स्टैटिस्टिकल सैम्पलिंग. Of course, this statement is incorrect. Statistical sampling uses scientific methods and techniques, and it also uses probability theory. Hence, it is considered to be more scientific. Non-statistical sampling depends on the auditor's personal judgment, right? It is more subjective to the auditor. Hence, non-statistical sampling is less scientific. Statistical sampling is more scientific. Okay. Next, in case of statistical sampling, auditors bias. In case of statistical sampling, auditors bias in choosing sample is involved. This statement is also incorrect because when the auditor is using statistical sampling, again जैसा मैंने बोला scientific methods use किए जाते हैं. There is a use of probability theory. Hence, each unit has an equal chance of selection. But in case of non-statistical sampling, the auditor's personal bias may be involved in choosing the samples. Okay. Next question. In stratified sampling, the conclusion drawn on each stratum can be directly projected to the whole population. Stratified sampling में we choose samples from each of the stratum. Right? Say there are 5 stratas. ठीक है? हर strata से हमने कुछ sample choose किया. Now, the conclusion which we derive from that particular strata will be projected to that stratum. That is, it is used for deriving conclusion only for that stratum, not the entire population. Say, for example, if I draw and explain here, if these are stratas, okay, say these are 5 stratas, strata 1, 2, 3 and 4, and इसका जो पूरा combination है, ये हो गया पूरा entire population. So when the auditor derives any conclusion for S1, so conclusion for S1 is related to only this. Conclusion for S2 is related only to S2. Conclusions from the sample which is drawn from S3, यहाँ से sample choose किया जाता है, ठीक है? यहाँ से sample choose किया जाएगा. इस sample का जो conclusion है, it is only related to S3. Similarly, C4 conclusion is only related to S4. Now, when we combine these conclusions in total, that is projected to the, this one is projected to the population. So, each individual conclusion is actually not projected to the population. I hope it's clear now. It is only used to derive conclusion on the respective stratum from where they are drawn, not the whole population. Next, देखो, low acceptable sampling risk requires larger sample size. This statement is of course correct if you want to keep the sampling risk low. What is sampling risk? Sampling risk is the risk that the auditor's conclusion based on the sample may be different if the auditor had applied audit procedure to the entire population. That means if there's a population of say 1000 items and I apply audit procedures only to say 200 items out of 1000, the conclusion that I will draw based on my conclusion from the 200 items may be different if I had applied audit procedure to the entire 1000 items. इसको कहते हैं sampling risk. Now, if you want to keep the sampling risk low, what you can do? Instead of choosing 200 items, you choose 500 items or you choose 700 items. If you increase the sample size, automatically your sampling risk would go down, right? So this statement is correct. Chalo. Now come to the theoretical questions. What precautions should be taken by the auditor while applying test check techniques? So whenever the auditor is using any test check technique, any sampling tool, the auditor should first study the accounting system properly. Proper study of internal control system should be done. Consideration of areas which are not suitable for sampling. For example, if I want to check whether the entity has complied with a particular statutory requirement, which is only a specific requirement, not a recurring one, in that case I cannot apply sampling, because एक ही चीज मुझे check करनी है तो उसमें क्या sampling मैं apply करूँ. So the auditor need to consider the areas where sampling cannot be used. Proper planning for the sampling methods that you are using. Are you using simple random, stratified random, block sampling? Which is the method you are using? Proper information should be given to the audit team, to the staff. Classification of transactions and balances, appropriate determination of the sample size. Do I choose 50 units? Do I choose 100 units? What should be my sample size? Sample should be chosen in unbiased way. And finally, analysis of the conclusion should be done in a proper manner. Okay, so these are the things that the auditor need to keep in mind. Next question, explain the factors to be considered while determining the extent of checking on a sampling plan. How much you need to check? So it depends on a lot of factors like size of the organization. If the organization size is large, then you need to do a little more checking in comparison to when the size of organization is small. Then the related internal controls. If controls are strong, in that case you may do less extensive checking, but if controls are only weak, then proper checking needs to be done. Then control on the accounting records. If records are maintained properly, you can rely on those records. In that case कम checking करने से भी हो जाएगा. But if records are only not reliable, unreliable, then we have to do detailed checking, because we cannot rely wholly on the records. We have to do our independent checking. Also it depends on the tolerable error range. Error means यहाँ पे error मतलब हो गया misstatement और deviation. If my tolerable rate of misstatement is high, मैं ज़्यादा amounts तक की errors को मैं tolerate कर सकती हूँ, तो भैया कम checking से भी काम हो जाएगा. But if tolerable error, you are saying 1000 rupees is also a very big matter, then you have to do more checking. Do more checking so that you can find smallest of the mistakes, right? Then degree of desired confidence. Basically these two are interrelated. If my tolerable error range is say 5%, that means I want 95% confidence. If my tolerable error range is 1%, मैं सिर्फ 1% तक की गलतियां बर्दाश्त कर सकती हूँ, तो मेरा confidence level मुझे क्या चाहिए? 99% should be all right. है ना? So all these factors are essential. This is a very good question. I mean, it is asked a number of times in CA Inter also, final also. So a good question. इस तरह से हमने complete कर लिया discussion of chapter number 7. Okay? If you have any doubts, तो आप, जैसे मैं हर वीडियो में आपको कहती हूँ, आप कमेंट्स में लिख के मुझसे बात कर सकते हैं. You can contact me. In case you are interested in purchasing a summary book for your revision, a question bank for your revision for CA Inter audit, you can also write in the comment section below. I'll give the link to the book and you can purchase it from our website. For any other queries also, you can write down in the comment section, and if you like the video, do hit the like button and share it with your friends as much as possible. Okay, thank you so much everyone. God bless you all.